The MGU operates throughout Manitoba and is located on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Innuwak, Nehatuak, Dakota, Dene, and Métis people. Our primary office is located on Treaty 1 territory and the homeland of the Red River Métis. Our work extends throughout Treaties 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. We respect the treaties made on these territories. We dedicate ourselves to move forward with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration to make Manitoba an inclusive and accessible place for everyone who lives here. Tonight, we're here to talk to you about the MGU, our structure, the many services we offer, and how you can get involved, and what the collective bargaining process at MGU looks like. I'm joined by the two staff representatives assigned to your group, Kristen Sutton and James Alexander. They'll be making a presentation tonight. I'm sure some of you have already met Kristen and James. They've been very busy since late September when we received the Labor Board certificate, and true MGU style, as soon as we were official, we hit the ground running. But before we get started, I'd like to say how happy we are to welcome you into the MGU fold. It's been a long time coming, and we're super pumped that you finally arrived. We've always believed that you and your coworkers deserve professional representation in the workplace and access to the many services the MGU can provide. Not only will you have someone to stand up for you on a day-to-day basis, but should you need it, should you need to take collective action, you now have the strength and resources of over 30,000 members behind you, and the skills and know-how of our professional staff. It's quite a powerful combination. I know you'll probably have many questions after the presentation, and we'll do our best to answer them all. If there are some that we don't get to, or we aren't able to answer tonight, you can contact our resource center, and we'll get you an answer as soon as we can. If you have questions, please type them in the chat feature. For most of you, this feature will be found at the bottom right of your screen. If you're not able to see the chat or you're joining us by phone, you can email your questions to the Resource Center at rc@mgeu.ca, or you can call them at 1204-982-6438. This information can also be found on the mgu.ca in case you didn't have time to jot that information down. And now I'll turn it over to Kristen and James to make the presentation.
Hi, everyone. I'm James. I'm going to be starting us off tonight. I'm going to just pull up our presentation here. So we're going to be going over you and your union. Kyle's already given us a nice introduction and done our treaty land acknowledgement. We're going to be starting with an overview of the MGU. Today, we're going to provide you with that brief overview, talk about the key functions of what we do. We believe that the more information you have on how to become involved, the more comfortable you will feel becoming involved. We will not be addressing individual concerns tonight. Instead, if you have those issues, as Kyle said, please call the Resource Center another day. So we're going to start off with what is a union? Well, a union is an organization formed by workers who join together and use their strength to have a voice in their workplace. Unions are the only kind of organization in Canada that can legally compel an organization to negotiate with its employees. In a formal way, this is the process known as collective bargaining. Everything we do as a union comes back to defending and strengthening the fundamental rights of working people. And as a member, it's important to understand that you are the union. So who we are as the MGU? Well, every 2 years, you and the 30,000 members have the opportunity to elect 900 coworkers who step up and take on an elected leadership position. We also have 80 or so permanent staff who are hired for their various expertise. And it's important to understand that there's really two arms to the organization. The staff arm, which has its own chain of command and accountability, just like at your workplace, and a political arm, which are members of all those elected from the membership. The democratic process brings accountability to that arm. The structure of both these arms allows us to maintain accountability at all levels throughout the organization and to ensure the best representation for all our members. I want to talk a little bit about RAND contributors. So no employee can be forced to become a union member or sign a union card, but all employees are required to pay dues to the union for negotiating and administering the collective agreement. That agreement is what brings them better pay, benefits, representation during grievances, and a number of other benefits, as we're going to talk about today. Active members, the opposite of RAND members, so those who have signed a membership card, are eligible to run for elected positions and vote in elections. So for you folks in the Winnipeg School Division, that's going to include everyone who isn't a substitute. So whether you're a full-time or a term, you have the ability to come out and participate in our union elections. Some of you signed a card during the card drive. In the spring, you are all now active MGU members. Those who did not have to sign a membership application form in order to get communication from us and participate in our local meetings, like the one we have coming up on the 30th. Your membership cards will be mailed to you once your application has been processed. Once members have that card, we can start sending important information about what is happening in the MGU, including the bargaining tables and where dues are being spent. A big part of being an activist is making sure you and your coworkers have signed an application form, either in paper or online, and that is mailed into the MGU office. This is because many workplaces do not hand out membership application forms to new hires. You guys are in a unique situation where we're going to be doing a little bit of a card drive in your workplaces. Some of you may have seen it already in your schools.
I know. There we go. Now can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. So a local is the basic unit of a union. Some locals have thousands of members. Some have 5 or less. A local shares a collective agreement, maybe one workplace and maybe hundreds of workplaces. Local meetings are held at least annually, and all members are invited to discuss issues of concern to members, seek member ideas for bargaining proposals, and elect delegates, pass resolutions to MGEU convention. Each position in the local has different responsibilities, and members are elected into them every 2 years at local meetings. Members in these positions bring issues to the employer's attention, ensure other employees in the workplace know their rights, and they work closely with their staff representatives. Members are the expert in their workplace. Your staff rep is a labor relations expert. The partnership is the key. We need each other, and the two arms must work together. And we value these active members, and it's why we invest in the best training and lifelong learning opportunities for those willing to step up and become an MGU activist. Getting active in the union is a great opportunity to expand your horizons while on the job. The union sponsors your courses, the employer gives you time off, and you learn skills like public speaking, conflict resolution, how to run a meeting, and effective leadership, and how to advocate for your coworkers on workplace issues. Your local will have a president, vice president, chief steward, and 3 members at large. You will also elect a steward for every school and work site. And for those with more than 50 members, you will elect an additional steward, so 1 for every 50. None of the positions that you elect or can be elected into are paid positions. The union will pay you, though, if you are doing union business or training and are supposed to be working. We'll pay your wages, your mileage, your meals while on union business. Well, we will also be looking for a variance for your local to hold elections in September or in June, sorry, instead of September, as we know that September can be a very busy month in the schools. We have multiple components within the MGEU. A component represents you by your profession. So as examples, we have components in administration, community support, and MPI, Manitoba Public Insurance. We will be introducing as well a new component for you, which will be educational support, which will include other locals that represent educational support as well. The province is divided into 8 areas. So areas 1, 2 through 5 have geological boundaries outlined by the Constitution and bylaws. Areas 6 and 7 are within the city of Winnipeg. So area 6 is health and social service locals, and area 7 is civil service, government agency, crown corporations, colleges, and universities. You will be part of Area 6. You are also represented at the board by where you live. So the white circles represent the number of locals within each area. And each area has an area council that meets regularly to discuss area-wide or regional issues. Area council is made up of the president, vice president, and chief steward of every local within that geographical area. All members can attend area council, but only local table officers, so the president, vice president, and chief steward can vote. Each area council elects an area director who sits on the board. Information moves between the local and area council to the board of directors and then back again. You, as I said, will be part of Area 6, which makes up a portion of the membership in Winnipeg. Area councils meet approximately 6 times a year. Each area council elects its standing committee members for a 2-year term in convention year. There are 10 standing committees. 1 member from each area sits on each committee, and each committee is chaired by an MGEU board member. You do not have to be a steward to sit on a standing committee. You just need to get elected at area council. 2 of our most unique committees include Grievance and Appeals and the Finance Committee. Grievance and Appeals is responsible for providing members an opportunity to appeal grievances that our screening committee has decided should not proceed to arbitration. And the Finance Committee is responsible for providing organizational transparency and overseeing all spending. We encourage all members to come out and participate in these committees. They serve as a great way to get involved.
Moving on, we're going to talk about convention. Convention is the highest decision-making authority in the MGU. Our biannual general meeting, which happens every 2 years with 300 plus delegates elected by local based on size, where we also elect our 4 provincial officers and our president. So that just happened this past weekend. And I do believe we get a nice slide of them all. So these are your 5 current provincial officers. The provincial officers are elected at convention, as I said, and serve a 2-year term. The elected MGU president works alongside MGU staff to carry out the day-to-day union business. He brings the voice of the members forward every day. An elected board of directors meets 6 times a year, including the president and 4 vice presidents, to report to each other, oversee ongoing union activities, and carry out convention directives. As Kristen said, each area council elects a director who sits on the board, bringing issues forward from that region. Each component elects a director who sits on the board, bringing forward issues from those workplaces. This process is how information gets to the board, but also how information goes back to the local areas and components. The MGU was the first union in Canada to open a member resource center. If members have any questions about their union or their workplace, the resource center is just a phone call or email away. This means members are able to reach someone directly who can either answer their question immediately or put them in contact with someone who can. All calls to the resource center are confidential, and it's important to know our resource center is open 12 months of the year. We have no downtime in the summer. Next is staff representatives. So in addition to your elected leaders, you have a union staff to assist you in your role. Staff reps are part of this team, like myself and Kristen, and likely the people you will work most closely with. We also have a team of specialists, and our in-house specialists include work that's done every day. For example, standing up for health and safety in your workplace, working with pension and benefit plan to administrators to ensure members' interests are being served, providing in-depth training for elected workplace reps on everything from health and safety standards to the collective bargaining process, representing members through workers' compensation or LTD claims that have been denied, arguing member grievances before an arbitrator or arbitration panel, raising public awareness about members' issues, and keeping members up to date on the latest developments and stories about the union. I'm now going to show you a short video of our specialists speaking about their roles.
The stories that we hear as union activists are something that you carry with you.
Good morning, MGU Resource Center, Nishan speaking. I believe in empowering people, in helping people, that we're stronger together than we are alone.
One thing that I think characterizes this union is we really want to be the best in everything that we do.
Because these are people's lives, these are people's livelihoods that are affected, and people have families, and so the impact of whatever is going on in the workplace can be far-reaching.
The one-on-one contact that MGU provides, whether it's through our staff representatives, from the specialists, having the resource center accessible to answer any of your questions. I'm quite proud to be part of an organization that provides those services.
Part of my job being a campaign organizer is we do lobby government, regardless of who's in power. If our members are affected based on legislation or decision government is making.
At the end of the day, it's the worker that's exposed to the risk. The employer will replace them the next day.
I think it's very important for the employer to realize that they're not going to be able to run roughshod over any collective agreement. Myself and the other lawyer on staff are there to make sure that it's followed to the letter of the law.
Having somebody there full-time as a professional advocate makes a huge difference because you don't have to worry about it on a daily basis. I'm worrying about it for you.
MGU has central financing. The dues all come into a central pot. Doesn't matter if you're a 10-person local or 1,000. You have the same access. That's equality, that's fair, that's the way we do things.
We are the MGU. We are
The MGEU.
We are the MGU.
We are the MGEU.
Okay, so as we were saying, there are two arms to the organization. So there's the political arm, members and all those elected from the membership. So the democratic process brings accountability to this arm. The staff arm, which has its own chain of command and accountability, just like at your workplace. MGEU members and staff work very closely together. It's a partnership between staff as the labor relations experts and members who are the experts in their workplace that lead to the best outcomes. All locals have a collective agreement, and your previous agreement is still in force until we negotiate a new one. Before we begin to bargain a new collective agreement, we will be asking all members to bring forward proposals on how you think that we can make the collective agreement better. Your local representatives will then have the opportunity to sit with the MGEU staff negotiator at the bargaining table to negotiate your new agreement. And as always, you will have the final say at a ratification vote. We will be looking to begin the bargaining process with a call for proposals in the new year. Communication. This can be an area of frustration for many members. Why is there not more communication? Why not a live stream when you're talking about communication during bargaining? At key times in negotiations, the committee may send important updates to members either by email, Facebook, or phone, or mail you a bargaining bulletin. In other cases, the details about negotiations will be limited so that the committee's position at the table is not compromised. Remember, anything sent to members is usually also read by management. It's the negotiator and the committee who decide together when and what to communicate. If your local is headed into bargaining, be sure to update your contact information with the union and encourage your coworkers to do the same. This is really important. The other thing that your staff reps will be doing with you or for you is servicing. So we do monitor the employer's compliance with the collective agreement. Servicing means enforcing and making sure the employer is following your collective agreement. The best collective agreement means nothing if no one understands it or follows it. The first step in instances where an employer does something that contradicts the collective agreement or policies or legislation is that we meet with them and see if we can find a resolution. If a resolution can't be found, the next step may involve the formal grievance process that is outlined in your agreement. The grievance process provides an opportunity to come to the table and resolve issues with the employer through a resolution process with the goal of settling the issue. If things cannot be resolved, ultimately, the issue can go to an arbitrator to resolve. Sometimes a grievance is about, I didn't do it, or the punishment is simply too harsh. Part of that responsibility is also advocating and assisting you in everyday life. We assist members whose rights under the collective agreement, legislation, or workplace policies are being infringed upon by the employer. We ensure members receive due process, fair treatment, and justice in disciplinary situations. We ensure members receive due process, fair treatment, and justice in disciplinary situations by asking various questions, such as, was the discipline appropriate? Was the minimum amount of discipline given sufficient to bring about the required behavioral change? Was there a violation of legislation? Was the member disciplined with no cause? That is, not guilty of what they were accused of. If the union concedes that the employer's behaviors constitutes discipline, there may be mitigating factors. Was there proper implementation of a workplace policy according to rules established in labor law? Well, these are some of the things that we will be looking at when we're advocating.
Next, we're going to talk about some of the many union campaigns that the MGU has partook on. First, I want to speak a little bit about the Healthy Minds campaign. In response to a resolution endorsed by members at convention in 2018, the MGU launched Healthy Minds at Work. The campaign aims to engage MGU members on workplace mental health, raising awareness of mental health as a workplace issue, and helping members have conversations about mental health. We also believe in connecting members with mental health resources and supports and providing members with tools and information to advocate for employer action on mental health and wellness at work. The main takeaways: it's not just important to have safety standards in the workplace, but also to have mental health awareness, and that workplaces play an essential role in maintaining positive mental health. Employers have a responsibility to ensure a psychologically safe and healthy workplace, and the MGU will help to advocate for mental health in your workplace. All of this stemming from one campaign. The MGU is a nonpartisan union, but nonpartisan does not mean non-political. It means we are not tied or bound to a particular political party. The MGU is very politically active. We stand up for our members when there are threats to their livelihood, no matter which party is in power. And you're going to get to see this firsthand as we now have a switch in parties. Lobbying is the act of attempting to influence the opinions, decisions, or policies of an elected government official. So why is lobbying important? Well, it's to gain government support or change their mind on a particular piece of legislation or funding. It's to help raise the profile of an issue you're fighting for in the public and in the media. Every union charges union dues. Each union has different rates. MGEU's is amongst the lowest in Canada and has been for over a decade at 1.25% of your overall salary. This includes all wages, including on overtime. It's important to remember that your dues are tax deductible based on your taxation rate. Any increase to union dues would be determined at convention and voted on by the membership in attendance. Dues are also pooled centrally. It provides equal opportunity for all members regardless of the size of their local. It's also important that there's an annual summary sent to all members, and that MGU follows strict accounting procedures and is externally audited every year. Every member who pays dues is entitled to access to all MGU resources. This includes our specialists, our education and our bursary opportunity, discounts, and of course our representation. We have a fantastic website which has just been completely overhauled. Here's a nice new image of it showing our welcoming of you guys. Social media is a great way to stay engaged with the union initiatives and campaigns. And I'm going to ask you to return to your, and I'm going to keep moving on. Bulletin boards serve as the most basic but essential form of communication with members. Most collective agreements have language requiring that bulletin board space be provided for use by the union, and yours is no different. You do have bulletin boards at work, so it's important that we'll try and keep these updated and keep it fresh. Our communications department creates posters you can use. These can be found on the MGU website or by calling the Resource Center. You can also post newsletters and other MGU materials. The MGU banner featured in the top of the middle panel can be ordered from the Resource Center. I'm going to play another video for you. This video gives you a nice brief recap of everything we talked about and helps to sum everything up nicely.
Welcome to the MGEU. Here's what you need to know about our union. You'll find MGEU members in every corner of the province, and our union is part of our communities. About a third of us work directly for the provincial civil service. Others work throughout Manitoba's broader public service, such as healthcare, education, liquor and lotteries, MPI, and community-based social services. Together, we pool our resources, 1.25% of every paycheck, to give us each more of a voice in our workplace and provide additional benefits. But first things first. To take advantage of these benefits, you first need to fill out a member application form. This will get you in the MGEU database and keep you in the know about all our union has to offer. In a nutshell, here's how our union dues are put to work. Together, we bargain the best deal possible with our employer. As MGEU members, each of us works under the protection of a collective agreement or contract, negotiated with our employer. Contracts usually last 3 to 4 years. You can find yours at mgeu.ca. Before contract negotiations begin, every member has a chance to share improvements we'd like to see in our collective agreement. We elect our co-workers, maybe even you, who team up with MGEU professionals to bargain with the employer on our behalf. Together, we support those willing to lead the way. Each year, thousands of us are trained by the MGEU and mentored, so we can confidently help our fellow members with workplace problems. Find out who your workplace steward is and keep their contact info handy. The MGEU is democratically run. We elect our leadership all the way up to the president and decide the union's direction and priorities at a biennial convention. Sometimes, going public about an issue is the best way to make sure our voices are heard. As MGEU members, we're always part of the debate. But to do this, we need to stay connected. Have a problem at work? Interested in getting more involved? Contact your workplace rep or the MGEU Resource Center, and you can always find the latest news online. Now remember to fill out the application to receive all the benefits of being an MGEU member.
The MGEU takes pride in their ability to offer scholarships and bursaries for members and their families. In fact, we give out more than $29,500 annually to deserving recipients. We have spent a couple weeks recently going to schools to meet folks, provide information about the MGEU, and have them sign membership cards. If you do need to update your information, you can do this either online or by calling the Resource Center. If you have a question or a problem, check in your collective agreement. And if you're not able to find an answer there, contact the MGEU Resource Center. Again, it's 204-982-6438 or MGEU. Or you can email them or ask a steward or your staff rep. If you do call the Resource Center, you can have them connect you with a staff rep if they're unable to answer your questions. There are many ways to get involved in the union without holding a steward position. First things first, Make sure you and your coworkers provide your current email address for the database. You can also attend meetings, submit your ideas, and participating in campaigns, and are encouraging coworkers to do the same are all simple ways to be involved. With that, that's our brief presentation for today, and I will pass it back to Kyle.
Thanks, guys. If you have any questions, you feel free to put them in the chat. We haven't seen any questions yet, so I think that was really informative. I don't know. It's a way to get involved in how our system works. I'm sure it's very different from what you're used to, but really appreciate you guys all coming today. And we can only talk for so long, so someone of you's got to put a question in the chat because I can only say so many nice things about James and Kristen before I run out of time, things to talk about, right? So don't be shy. There's no stupid questions.
So there is one question asking what the date is of the meeting. We will be having the meeting on October the 30th, so next Monday at 5:30 at the Victoria Inn.
So I just grab the questions out of the chat. There's not that many. So what happens to benefits? Who wants to take that one?
Your benefits remain intact, and your collective agreement remains completely intact to that fashion until a new collective agreement is bargained. So your benefits are still in place. Nothing should have shifted on that front in any respect.
Okay, the next question. What is it? Where can I find information on the different positions available? I guess they're talking about president, chief steward, and what the role entails.
So when we come out to your local, we're going to be doing a brief overview of all the positions available from your local table officers, so president, chief steward, and vice president, as well as your members at large. As well, we have a little bit on the roles of a steward, but we can make sure more information is available. You also have the resource center as an option to contact for additional information if you're looking for delving more into those roles.
Thanks, James. I don't have childcare. Can I bring my kids, I guess, to the meeting? Kristen?
Yeah, that's fine if you need to bring your kids. You wouldn't be the first person to need to bring your kids, and you certainly won't be the last. So by all means, if it's going to mean that you can get out to the meeting, you're more than welcome to.
The next one, what happened there? There we go. You mentioned bursaries for families. What is the criteria and how do you apply?
So when it's bursary and scholarship season, they'll all be up on the on our website, and each one will have a different criteria depending on the bursary or the scholarship being offered. So we don't have a one size fits all. So you'll need to look at what is available and see if you qualify that way.
All the information is on our website. You probably just might have to search for bursaries in the search bar, and I think you'll have all the different information. So, is signing a member card the same as registration?
Yep, signing a member card is exactly the same as registering.
Thank you, James. What happens to the money that Wanty has that belongs to the members? We're still working on that. Wanty does have money, but Wanty also has a building and all these other leases and other things. So we're still figuring out where that falls. And we have a couple of things that are a priority. We know you guys are going into bargaining, so we're looking at probably doing a campaign to support that bargaining to make sure you get a better deal. And there'll be other things we're working on as well. We know there's some money there, and that money comes along when you guys signed up with us. So we're just stay tuned. We have not landed in a position yet, but we're working on that. So next question. What if terms aren't yet made terms? Can they still come to the meeting?
You want to answer them?
Go ahead.
So yes, you can still come to the meeting. We have heard this concern a number of times about subs who have been converted or are waiting for their conversion to term. We have a disclosure that you'll just fill out at the meeting, just saying that you have been converted or expected to be converted in short order. We're also following up with HR to see if there's potential to get the conversions done in time, but you can definitely come.
Thanks, James. How can I run for a position at the meeting? Can I run from the floor? I'll answer that. Basically, everyone runs from the floor in our meeting. There's no pre-sign up. You just need someone to nominate you at the meeting for any position you'd like to run for. So long as you have a nominator and you accept it, you can run for the position when we hold elections for the president, chief steward, vice president, and the members at large. So yes, and even if you're not at the meeting, if you send an email to Kristen or James saying, if someone nominates me for the position of president, I would let my name stand, you can be nominated even when you're not there. So there's opportunities to run even if you're not at a meeting, but it's always much better when you get meetings. So when you're nominated, you get to speak to your nomination and all that. So, but yes, you can run. Everyone runs from the floor when it comes to a local meeting. What happens if your position has you traveling and you are not really part of an assigned school?
We actually had some discussion about this today. So we are going to be looking at specific groups and the representation for them, but you'll always fall under at least the school that you typically are at or where your job is. But you always have access to any steward, whether they are your steward or a steward from another school. The same with your executive, and the same with your with the staff reps here, James and myself.
Thanks, Kristen. Because I haven't signed a membership card, is this why I didn't receive any information about the nomination process? Who wants to take it?
I can take it. Yeah, so we did send out a ton of information about the local meeting, and I think there's still more to come, as well as some posted on in your schools. And if you're in a school we haven't hit yet, there's still the opportunity to speak to either some other members or to staff who come out to the schools to get people to sign cards. But yes, we won't be sending information to anyone we don't have a card for, because we don't have contact information for them. So if you want information about how to be part of this, how to be involved as a steward, then please get your card signed. But the short answer is that anyone can be involved regardless. You may have to fill something out that night, though.
Thanks, James. Are union dues collected once a month or every check?
Union dues are deducted every check.
Thanks, Kristen. What will the election look like on Monday?
So on Monday, like James said, we will go through what each position entails. We will call for nominations from the floor. We will call for nominations 3 separate times. You don't have to wait until each call to nominate people. So we could have 20 people running for one position, and that's totally okay. We will then ask people if they're willing to let their names stand. We will give every person who is nominated a chance to speak to the group, and then everyone will have the chance to vote. The winner must receive 50% plus 1 percentage of votes in order to win any given position.
Thanks, Kristen. If I signed a card last year, do I have to sign again?
Yes, the short answer is any of the cards signed in the previous campaigns, they still need to be re-signed. None of those would have counted, so we need you to fill out a new card or a new membership application. And you can do it virtually, or there's a number floating around, or you can call the resource center and request a printed package if you like, but yes, you'll need a new card.
Here's a good one. I don't know the answer. I hope Kristen or James got it. Once a new collective agreement is done, I didn't have to be part of dental. Will I have to sign up for dental as part of the MGU?
No, we're not going to force you to sign up for any of the benefits. They're still going to be your choice. That doesn't change.
Next, I have I have been working term after term, but there hasn't been anything for me about permanent. I lost my term once. I don't know.
I think I can speak to that a little bit. So without getting into specifics of the situation, your collective agreement has a conversion for terms. I believe it's after 20 months of consecutive work. So if you have been doing 20 consecutive months and you haven't been converted, please give us a call at the Resource Center or connect with Kristen and myself, and we can help you with that. If it's some other situation, like you've been shifted out for a period of time or did a period of time without working, then there's not much we can do under your collective, but it's very specific case by case scenario.
I'm going to put the two questions together. It says, I was a workplace liaison before. Am I still? And the next question I think ties into that is, how are location stewards chosen? So a workplace steward is similar to your liaison. So I think we can answer both of those at once, right?
So once we have done the elections for the local table officers on Monday, we will be coming out to the schools again to do elections for stewards. All of those elections are workplace dependent. And I know the question about I was a workplace liaison before, am I still? No, you are not. We will be doing those elections, as I said, after we have our meeting on Monday.
Will PASS want the executive be eligible to be nominated? Yes. There's no reason for them not to be. They were active in Wanty. There's no reason they can't be active with us and do those things. So if they come to the meeting and someone nominates them, they're eligible for election. Absolutely. Next question is, are subs covered by the MGU?
So the collective agreement does not allow for subs to be covered as currently written. So no, I would say they're not. However, after their 30 days in a sub role, they convert to a term and then they are covered to the full extent under the CBA.
My terms that I had before kept breaking. Is there a way for me to not let that happen?
I think this is one of those questions that it would be better to give the Resource Center a call and have a one-on-one conversation with James or myself so we can delve into what exactly is going on and how we can best address that.
Do we need to bring anything to the meeting? At minimum, it'd be good if you brought ID, but overall, no. Like long or some. If we don't have any information, it'd be good to bring some type showing you work for the school division. But overall, there's nothing really you have to bring. I say ID would probably be the best thing. I think we have a list from the employer. So long as we can confirm who you are or someone else can, I think that's all we need for you to attend the meeting. At the presentation you made at the information session, that Wanty. They're moving. At Wanty held, you said that the money that was absorbed from Wanty could be used to lower our dues. Yes, we had said that many times when it was a merger, but unfortunately, this wasn't a merger, and we were looking to work with your executive with that money to have those things to work with you, but your Wanty executive did not want to work with us and merge, so we had to do a card drive, which was very labor intensive. It was very expensive, to be honest with you, and so now we were looking to use those Wanty dues, and they wouldn't have substantially dropped your dues rate. So I think it's more beneficial to put that money towards, say, a campaign, so we can get you more money in your pocket, because that's really what you guys are looking for when it comes to bargaining, is the more take home pay and more money in your pocket. And I think using the dues to move that forward for you guys, I think is those leftover monies will be far more beneficial for you than the little bit that it would help you on lowering your dues, to be honest with you. So next question is, the meeting on the 30th, will we be discussing individual issues, or will that be once we have new agreement?
The meeting on the 30th is just going to be to have elections. The agenda had gone out, so we will be electing your president, vice president, chief steward, and 3 members at large. As for discussing individual issues, again, that's probably better in an individual setting rather than in a large group meeting. But no, we don't have to wait for a new agreement. Your agreement right now is in force, continues to be in force. And so anytime you want to discuss an individual issue, give us a call through the Resource Center or shoot us an email.
Thanks, Kristen. Why is there no nominations or campaign period before the elections? I would say There is. It's because you guys are new. Like our processes would be, well, you guys would be likely in June or late May that you could do your elections normally every 2 years because it works better because September is not a good time for you guys. And because you know when they happen, people can go around campaigning, but there's no real campaign period for the locals, like because they're usually biannually always, and people get nominated from the floor. This is how we process our other almost 200 locals. They all run off the same rules, and this is no different for you guys. It's just how MGU does things. So how can we be voting by secret ballot when people are being nominated from the floor that night?
So we will have electronic balloting done at the election. So you will have, I believe it's a clicker, and you're going to be able to use that to be able to vote secretly. So we fully intend to have nominations done right there, and then you will get to hear speeches of all those running or their nominators, whichever they choose. And then at the end of that, we will hold a vote for each position.
Thanks, James. What happens to benefits?
Your benefits have remained intact. Nothing has changed. As I said, your collective agreement continues to be in full force. Your previous benefits are all in full force. Nothing has changed with that.
Thanks, Kristen. Will schools visits still happen after the meeting on Monday?
Yes, so we likely won't have a chance to get to all the schools before Monday, so they will have to continue afterwards. We also, I wanted to say previously, we're not going to be just attending the schools, but we'll also attend some of the admin buildings, as well as the other buildings involved. So anywhere we have members, we plan to do our best to attend, but we're not going to be able to get it all done before the local meeting. So yes, they will continue.
Perfect, James. You even answered the next question, so I get to skip one here. So regarding the benefits, are members going to be able to join at any time, or are they going to have to join when there's a life change?
This is going to have to be something that is addressed during negotiations. My understanding is that you do have a defined benefit plan, which says that you can join when you first start or when there is a life change. At this point, any changes to benefits, again, are going to have to be done through collective bargaining. And I think that will answer our next question, how can we get better benefits? That'll be through collective bargaining.
I think that's all the questions we have at this time. So we'll give you last chance to pump in your last few questions, if there are any. I hope we were able to answer all the questions you had so far. I want to say thanks to all of you for attending this. I know it's I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Tuesday evening, I think. So it's been a little crazy around here lately with everything going on. But I want to really say thank you for you guys for joining us tonight. And we have regarding benefits. Here we go. One more question. Will MGU negotiate better health and dental, etc.?
Again, in the new year, we will be coming out to get bargaining proposals from you, the membership, to see what you want. And if this is a proposal that you want to bring forward, then that will be your chance to do that.
Can you still attend the meeting even if you're on a leave?
You can attend a meeting and we will likely have you fill out a declaration. A lot of times people are on maternity leave, whatever the case may be, and we'll just have you fill out a declaration coming into the meeting.
Once the meeting is over, where can I find the recording? Does either one? I don't know. Does you guys know?
I'm hoping that Jill's going to be able to type that into the chat. It may just be on our website, but we will have it on the YouTube channel.
There you go. You'll be able to find it on our YouTube channel because it's for such an engaging meeting, right, folks? I think with that, I don't know if I'm seeing any further questions. I just want to thank you all for coming tonight, and I want you to have a good night. And I'm really looking forward to your meeting next Monday when you guys do your elections. I hope a lot of you come out and engage and get to learn about MGU further, because we're here to support you. We want to do better for you guys than you have in the past, and we're here to help. And that's our biggest goal in all this. So I want to say thank you. Have a good evening and see you soon.